While reading this chapter, the one thing that kept going through my mind is, I love it when a plan comes together, and Kakashi boy, oh!
Naruto, number 15, Return of the Sharingan.
Holy hell! Oh my goodness. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesomely woven, action-packed, thrill-a-minute, mysteriously frickin' cool tale of Naruto. Our last chapter, of course, saw us with really Sasuke and Naruto acting in unison and helping each other out and kind of pulling the okie doke on Zabuza and really relying on his overconfidence and hoping that that would ultimately be his downfall. The chapter ended with, of course, that second shuriken coming at Zabuza in the shadow of the first one and then him, dodging it, but it looking like it turned into Naruto at the end, and then him pulling, kind of getting the drop on him and pulling out a kunai. So that's how the chapter ended off, and really that's where we pick up as well, right there. And it was as I thought. Obviously, they had, he had transformed into the shuriken, cloned himself into it, and then was able to get back into his form once getting behind him. The whole idea of everything of what they're doing, and it's great because it explains it all in this neat little like cartoon-like thing or whatever, is exactly what I thought. What he wound up doing is the doppelgangers that he had, the clones or whatever, when he used the Shadow Clone Jutsu, that was really only for a distraction. He really only needed, of course, the one to go and turn into the shuriken. And then doing it the way he did, Sasuke wound up going and throwing one and then throwing the second one, which was actually Naruto, turned into it. It's what I'm presuming from the way it was described. And then, of course, counting on Zabuza being able to catch that, but thinking that that was their end game, that was their big, mysterious tactic that they were going to throw at him, right? That move that nobody had seen. And then Naruto goes and appears behind him and goes, and he's not even trying to kill him or defeat him because they know they can't do that, but he goes and he whips this kunai at him, and just, right? And it's cool because as Zabuza goes and turns, he doesn't quite take it right in the face, but it goes and it does get him. It hits him, right? Blood is drawn, is spurted from. So then he goes and he gets pissed off and he's like, "You little," and he gets angry. The anger winds up having him kind of drop his guard, and he goes and pulls out the first shuriken that he caught, those big ass shuriken that he caught, that Sasuke threw. And I know this is kind of like a who's on first with Laurel and Hardy, but anyway, he goes and he takes that and he's gonna nail Naruto, and he's just like, and then all of a sudden you see like this blood splatter and you're like, oh shit, what do you do? Just jack up Naruto with that? You go and you see in the next page and it's just Kakashi standing there like, he put his arm up and he blocked the thing, right? Took it right in the frickin' wrist or the forearm, And it's great because the whole thing was explained and Kakashi's just like, great job, guys. You know what I mean? Just great job. Awesome, and he compliments Naruto on his quick way of thinking. The idea was never to actually try for them to beat Zabuza because they knew that they could not do that. It was only to distract him enough to get his rage built up like he did. He got angry and let that emotion out because obviously when you're a ninja, you got to be a cool, calm customer, man. You can't be letting personal shit get in your way, especially when you're trying to do these different techniques and whatnot, which require concentration, right? Him holding Kakashi in that water prison took concentration. As soon as that concentration was broken, and then he said, and then even Zabuza says, he's like, oh, and I lowered my, my guard and this and that, and then Kakashi goes and he says, no, you didn't lower it, like you didn't lower it completely. It was still broken from without, like basically, I was just waiting for the opportunity, and I'm gonna fucking lay into you, so so I thought that was great, so Kakashi's just like, I just hope and as he's got this thing and his arm's dripping with blood and he's blocked and he's like, so just so you know, that spell won't work on me twice, so they both kind of go and jump away from each other, at the same time, and it's about to go down, and Sasuke and Naruto and Tazuna and Sakura, they're all just kind of like, we better stay out the way, because this shit's gonna go down. So the rest of the chapter is all just this magnificent battle between Kakashi and this demon Momochi Zabuza, right? And they're fighting against each other. He's doing this and he's doing that, and what winds up happening is what starts out to look like it's actually going to be a battle really kind of turns into a showing how much of a badass Kakashi really is at just this early stage in the series. And with that Sharingan eye that he has, he can not only copy moves and everything else, but he actually gets to the point where he can kind of like, he almost has he has the ability to almost like predict and see what's going to happen, maybe like a couple of seconds or a split second in the future, and predict his moves. He's able to actually go and clone Zabuza, you know, and then Zabuza, and he's cloning everything, and Zabuza's like, oh, you're just a parrot and this and that, and Zabuza knows he's in trouble because he starts trying to talk some shit, you know, and it's great to go and see because Kakashi at this point is really, in my opinion, just dismantling him mentally. He's just taking down the mental barriers, you know. You wanted to beat on your chest and act like you were a big boy, you done fucked up now, son. And that's what Kakashi is trying to tell him, I think anyway, and that's what I took from this, because he's almost like toying with him towards the end of it, you know, and it's great because he winds up going and he goes to use this move or whatever, and Kakashi actually uses the move first, you know, this something waterfall, whatever, and he's just like, what the hell? That was my move. He predicted it and used it on me before I got to use it on him. What the hell, you know? So I just thought it was sweet how the whole thing, you know, played out and everything like that, because again, this just goes on and on until eventually he winds up using it. And here Zabuza even says, you know, he did this before I could even finish my ninjutsu. He used the same technique against me, right? Just nice double page spread of him just getting funked up. And I just thought it was great how Kakashi actually just like cloned him and used that Sharingan eye. And he's just like, and you know, here we go, water style, giant waterfall. That's what it was actually called. It might be called something different, you know, that other people go by. But anyway, the chapter ends up shortly after that. He winds up going and he hits him with this waterfall move. And Zabuza's kind of pinned up against this tree, and it's not looking good for him. And of course, you know, Kakashi is pretty close over here, you know, pretty close up to him, it looks like. And then he's just like, what? Can you see the future? And then Kakashi goes and he's like, I foresee your death. And I'm like, oh, what the hell? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you know, two little, I don't know what you'd call these. They're not kunai. They're almost like, and they're not arrows. They're almost like these little, like, throwing darts or something like that. All of a sudden, they come out of nowhere, and Zabuza, at least for right now, I don't know how death is handled in this series as compared to other ones that I read, but he looked fucked up. Like, you take a couple of those through the neck, and you're probably not going to be... I mean, you might be doing like a Stephen Hawking in a wheelchair talking out of a tube in your a computer for the rest of your life. But I don't think he's getting out of this one. And it just, you know, it just takes him out, drops him. And then all of a sudden, this mysterious fucker with like a question mark looking thing on his face or whatever, his or her face appears, you know, and it's just like, your prediction came true, you know. And I thought that was kind of funny. I have no idea who the hell this character is. Hopefully we'll find out pretty soon, but that's kind of a surprise twist ending to it, because it was neat to see that, you know, Kakashi goes and he's like, I foresee your death, and then all of a sudden he winds up getting killed, and it wasn't even by Kakashi's hand. But man, that's how the chapter ends. That's what leads into my chapter question. What are your thoughts now on Kakashi and what we've seen he's able to do? He's not able to just copy moves. He's able to actually go and be such like a clone that he was mimicking everything he was doing, and then he actually got ahead of his own of Zabuza's own mind and could foresee what he was going to do, and then actually do it before him. That shit is cool, man, being able to predict. I mean, could you imagine that? You'd be the weakest person in the world. Wouldn't matter. If you know where the punch is going to come, you just move out of the way. You know? I mean, it reminds me of like Spider-Man, almost like with the spider sense, how they depict it in the Tobey Maguire set of Spider-Man movies, where it's almost like everything kind of slows down for him, and he does sort of like see things before they're going to happen. But for him, everybody else is really slow, and he's just fast, like he's regular speed, you know? So, I don't know, that's the best thing I can think of to compare it to, but man, is that cool, you know, or maybe even something like with the Force and like Star Wars, you know, whatnot, where you can kind of just feel this living, breathing essence around you, and it's able to kind of help you predict others' moves and what they're going to do, how they're going to come at you, you know, especially when they use anger as opposed to, and I thought that was cool too, how they, you know, he basically said that Zabuza's anger got the best of him, you know what I mean? They tricked him into more or less lowering his guard by kind of raising his blood pressure up and getting him to break that concentration because he got pissed, you know. So anyway, but like I said, if you would answer that question, what are your thoughts now that we can see on Kakashi, and of course his ability to predict things before they even happen, that whatever you want to call it, I don't know if that's part of the chakra or if that's just part of his thing where he can vision things that happen you know, a couple seconds, couple minutes before, don't know. But leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. I can't wait to see who the masked man is too. Whew. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We'll look forward to catching all of yous in the next one, Nation.
Do you like dreadlocks, green acid blood, or glowing eyes? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you should go over and check out my Instagram and Facebook pages.